And I've asked Representative Pratt to open us with prayer this morning. All right, we to call the roll this morning.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Boswell, Senator Deneen, Senator Harper Angel,
Here.
Senator Webb, Representative Brown, Representative King, Representative McPherson, Representative Pratt,
Here.
Representative Works,
Here.
Co-Chair Mays Bledsoe,
Here.
and Co-Chair Dossett.
Present.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 13th meeting? Thank you. Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. First on our agenda this morning is our update from Mr. Reed and Mr. McCloskey. If you'll go ahead and introduce yourselves for the record and begin with this month's presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Committee, so much for having us over here, and your hospitality is always second to none. We truly appreciate what you all do for agriculture in Kentucky. I'm Brandon Reed, the Executive Director of Kentucky Office of Agriculture Policy in the Department of Agriculture.
Bill McCloskey, Deputy Executive Director.
So, okay, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So there on slide 1, as y'all can see, Commissioner of Agriculture has been very busy. Just a couple of highlights from June. As you see there on the left, he was signing a proclamation bringing in Dairy Month of June into Commonwealth, Kentucky. A couple of years ago, House Bill 76. I don't know who sponsored that, but anyway. So back in the day, we had a lot of resolutions that we had, and so the ag staff here at the LRC, we had a really stern conversation about maybe just combining all those and putting that in statute so we don't have to do Reed's resolutions every year. So we accomplished that. And Representative King, thank you so much for co-sponsoring that bill. I appreciate it. But anyway, that's June is Dairy Month, and he was there signing proclamation. Down there below that, Raising Hope and Farm Safety went down to the School of the Deaf down there in Danville, had a wonderful day with the kids down there, just had a wonderful experience. And then, of course, over to your right, the 1st of June was Kentucky State FFA Convention, and Commissioner Shell gave a wonderful remarks, highly motivated and passionate, and just really hyped up the crowd. And it was a huge crowd there in Rep Arena over there in Lexington, so we had a good time over there. So thank you. All right, and as always, we have a wonderful staff. We have a few in the room with us today, but they're always doing second to none work of just working for agriculture every single day for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, making sure these funds are spent wisely and effectively and efficiently, and they do a wonderful job. I'm super proud of them, and I do not tell them enough, but hopefully they know how special they are to the Commonwealth of Kentucky and what they're doing for agriculture to move it forward. So real fast, in June, Kentucky Agriculture Development Board approved $8.5 million, and then the Finance Corporation approved $3.3 million. And as always, we'll have a Finance Corporation board meeting tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, in case you want to come, usually we have at the Extension office there in Frankfort, but tomorrow it will be at on the campus of Kentucky State University at their Extension building there. So if you do want to come tomorrow, don't get that confused. And that's we do that maybe once a year. So just if y'all want to come over tomorrow, and we always have good food. So was it lasagna tomorrow? Yes. With lasagna tomorrow. So, but I always appreciate LRC Ag staff. Thank you all for coming over. They're always regulars there, and I truly appreciate you all coming over and being a part of that process. All right, just a couple of highlights in June. We did our final. We wrapped up our CAPE administered training. We did 2 virtual. We did 6 in person. We wrapped up our final virtual there up in June. Staff organized a day and tours recipient committee highlighting Kentucky horticulture down in London, Kentucky. Had a wonderful day. Did a horticulture meeting, that committee meeting that we have, did it down there. Just wonderful things they're doing. And then also we had a day of tours and highlight by cornets down there. And then last month, We did 26 councils meetings across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, just all over the state, and representing URAL's directive in the Department of Agriculture, and going down to the county council meetings and make sure things are run efficiently and smoothly and correctly. And then we had 2 additional interns join us in June, Caroline Groth and Carissa Hamilton. And our interns do a wonderful job. In fact, today they're involved with that activity, all of them in the Department of Agriculture. I think we have about 12 or 13 of them. So they're all doing activity together today. But they our interns at KOAP, we have 4. Their last day, all of them will be August 2nd. We'll be saying goodbye to them here pretty soon. But they've just done a wonderful job catching us up, working on an annual report that you all receive later this year. And they just do a remarkable job. So we're proud of them. Bill's going to give a brief breakdown of the Development Board and Finance Corporation, and then we're going to move on from then to Bill and Brandon's picks.
All right, so this just gives you an update on the programs that the Ag Development Board and Ag Finance Board approved here in the last board meeting. So you've got the large and food animal veterinary incentives program. So that's a grant program the Ag Development Board developed last year and into 2024. So large-scale veterinarians or food and animal veterinarians. They're providing that service. They can apply for 75% of a grant up to $100,000 to support their large animal practitioner. The next bullet point is the county agriculture investment programs, which we know is the CAPE. So about that's $2.7 million. About 80 to 85% of the $15 million allocated to the counties will be invested in the CAPE program. And every county at this point has the opportunity, all 120 counties have the opportunity to offer their county money as a CAPE across the state. And then the deceased farm animal removal program, again supporting the good conservation practices in the county. Shared use equipment, $17,500 for this project. And the most popular, no surprise, is the no-till drill. And then the youth program, $45,000. So if counties want to impact their youth, they can use their county money to support that. And then the county and state projects that were approved are listed in your packet that we're going to review here later. And then moving over to Kentucky Agricultural Finance Corporation, we now have 134, well, with the recent approval or transfer of $5 million from the Ag Development Board, we're $139 million lending institution here in the state. So we're as big as some commercial banks in the community, doing that with just 14 of us in the office, and that's doing all our programs. So by taking that participation approach where the application originates with the lender, we're utilizing our resources, and I think you can appreciate that as lawmakers that we're able to do that with the limited staff that we have, but impact across the state. We did 3 infrastructure loans. That's improvement on the farms for any farmer producer engaged in agriculture production, making improvements on the farm is eligible, working with their lender. Ag processing loan, that was a meat processor in Todd County, was approved for $170,000. And then the priority of both Ag Development and Ag Finance Board is the beginning farmer loan program. You can see 18 beginning farmer loans approved for $2.8 million.
So as we move on, I thank you all so much for the feedback. Gotten really good feedback of how we're transitioning now. So in your all's packets, you all get the reports of both boards and all the projects there, and they're there in front of you. If you have any specific questions, we're more than available to answer any questions you may have. But we're just going to kind of concentrate on 3 picks here. So we named it Bill and Brandon's top picks. So number 1 is Appalachia. So really excited about this. So Senator Webb, you asked, we're delivering. So, no, it's just a wonderful project. So Appalachia, they're in Martin County. This is a huge project. It's going to help produce 160 acres of apples, 320,000 Honeycrisp apples there in Eastern Kentucky for community core and also construction of a pack house. And so what we did, we combined, this is an epic loan that the board decided to do, $3.5 million loan. And then Farm Credit Mid-America is working on the other $3.5 million loan. So the Ag Development Board has already approved that $3.5 million loan. We are waiting on the bank to come through with their part. So we're kind of first in that endeavor. So just waiting on the other side. But that's a huge investment for that area. We're very proud of that. That's there in Martin County. And they're already got under operation already. This is an expansion of that. So it's going to be huge for the region. So we're just really proud of that. Another example of what we do across Kentucky is we work with the local county councils and their funds. They approve money for their investments there locally. An example is Greene County High School. They approved $15,000 for a greenhouse that they're working there in their town. And then Gemstar, Bill's going to talk about Gemstar Properties.
Yes, the information about this project is on page 11 in your packet. So Gemstar Properties is owned by the Gerber family, so it's Marlon and his two sons, and they currently operate a meat processing operation or business in West Liberty, and so they've decided to expand into Montgomery County, and county seat is Mount Sterling. So he bought a farm there to locate, and he's currently living there, and he's also opened up a retail business there. Senator Webb, I stopped by and visited him when we were out there for the groundbreaking for the distillery in Rowan County here recently. So, and tracking down Marlon, and he had gone to Cincinnati to deliver meat. And he was on his way back with watermelon. So I said, I want to make this conversation short because I don't want to hear about an accident with a watermelon truck while he was talking to a government minion in Frankfurt. So, very involved and has a history of being successful in the meat processing industry, and I think that's one of the reasons the board was interested in the project. The experience, the location, obviously it's Eastern Kentucky, and see the need. So the request was working with an entity called Community Ventures, working with People's Bank, and then also made a request to the Ag Development Board. The value of Community Ventures, they had been approved by a USDA $10 million grant to do relending. And so you can see in the breakdown here, Community Ventures is going to provide $2.5 million at 4%. And then working with People's Bank, the Ag Development Board said, we'll provide $1 million as a participation loan. And when we say participation loan, that's working with the lender, where the lender provides the interim finance or the construction finance totally until the project's complete. And you got to appreciate this, that our money from the Ag Development does not go into the project until it's complete, and they provide all the loan documentation. So the board felt comfortable in supporting this at $1 million at our normal rate of 2%, and then the lender adds on 0.75% to service the loan. So they pay the lender, and then the lender pays us. In this case, it's People's Bank. They also were able to secure $15,000 in Montgomery County money, so that will be a grant, and then the Ag Development Board, through their beef or meat processing expansion program, will provide up to $250,000, cap it at $250,000 as a forgivable loan. A forgivable loan is a loan that converts into grant if you meet their certain conditions, which in this case would be in business. And they send us an annual report every year that they're in business. 20% will be forgiven every year for 5 years. A way and we will. The lender will secure the loan with the mortgage, and then we'll secure our $250,000 with the mortgage as well to ensure that they do the project. So that's the update on Gemstar. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the project.
And then, as always, we're very busy. I know we're already working on next month's update. We got Finance Corporation tomorrow, and we have Ag Development Board next Friday. And so, again, y'all are more than welcome to attend. We hope you do. If you do come, I'll probably make you speak, so be aware of that. But anyway, always glad to have you. We will be in front of most of y'all, I think, next Thursday, July 18th. Department of Agriculture will be in front of that and the Interim Ag Board. And so we'll give some updates. I'll give a brief update, but I know y'all want to hear from the rest of the department because y'all hear from me all the time, so every month. So we'll give a brief update, be with you all next Thursday. But coming up, just want to remind you all, in August, State Fair time. This is our 120th State Fair, and it's representing the 120 counties. So it's going to be a big occasion, and I know tickets are on sale already. I think you can get an early bird ticket price right now. So tell your constituents to prepare for that. So it's going to be a huge event. Commissioner Shell cannot wait. He's already grown his pumpkins. I don't know if y'all have seen his videos, but he's grown some pumpkins and has a beat the commissioner pumpkin growing contest. So he's out there every day and just really proud of him. But his energy and passion is second to none. He's traveling Kentucky. He's there, Department of Agriculture, making sure agriculture is moving forward by your all's directive in the General Assembly. So we appreciate you all. So if there's no other questions, again, all the projects there are in y'all's pamphlets and everything. And if not, we'll be back here next month, right in front of y'all again.
Thank you so much for your presentation update. I know Caroline Groth really well. She's a good Fayette County girl. I grew up with her parents, actually, through middle school and high school. So I know they value her experience at interns. And the one thing I continue to hear when I go to meetings is the Young Farmer Program and how important that one is, too. So I know you're doing a good job with all that. We do have some questions, and I'll start with Senator Webb.
Thank you. I am happy to see the projects in East Kentucky. As a former coal miner that mined on the Martin County site, actually, we subcontracted for Martin County Coal there. You know, they kind of need a bright spot, and there's nobody better to bring it than Jim Booth, my longtime friend Jim Booth. And he is very committed and proud of this project, and I get updates from him on Facebook and other ways. So I think that's a sound investment. He's an excellent businessman, and he really likes giving back. And there's no use to go to North Carolina for these apples when we can grow them at home. So I'm happy about that. And the Mount Sterling project too, I've got a lot of confidence for the committee, in that particular family and the work that they do there, and how, just like the Lee City project, you go to sell my cattle at the Bluegrass Stockyard and you see buyers there. So it has tentacles that reach much farther than West Liberty, as far as from a producer standpoint. So I just appreciate the investment, and I think we're finally getting past being East Kentucky bashful to ask for help. So that's good to see. Thank you.
Senator Webb, thank you so much. We're really proud of this project. We're hoping that the other loan side will come through, and we think it will. But we're just proud that we're up front, leading the charge in that. The first year, it's going to affect 3 to 5 farm families, and it's going to have about 45 employees in the first year. So we're really proud of that.
Fantastic. Thank you all very much for your update and report, and good luck tomorrow with the lasagna. We look forward to growing. I won't be growing pumpkins, but I think that's a great idea for Commissioner Shell. All right, next we're going to hear an update from Community Farm Alliance and from Kentucky Double Dollars. So we're thrilled to have you all join us this morning. If you would, once you get seated, introduce yourself for the record and then give us an update on the program.
So we'll see if I'm on. Oh. And I am. So my name is Marissa Christie. I am the new Executive Director of Community Farm Alliance. And first, I want to thank you all for allowing us to give this presentation on our program, because it does affect the entire state. And as someone who grew up literally with my college textbooks being paid for master settlement agreement from Eastern Kentucky in Morgan County, it's very near and dear to me to see that these funds are well spent and that it does help continue family farming tradition. And as part of the reason I work for CFA is because that is something that we want to do. So let's get our slides up. All right. So if you don't know, there's a brief history with the Kentucky Double Dollars program. It actually sprang up from just to give you all a brief background, multiple markets in different ways across the state began implementing things that were similar to Kentucky Double Dollars. In 2017, CFA implemented a statewide project, and you all have been supporting that for a very long time. Actually, and I went back, over the course of the time, at least 45% of every dollar that you've given us have gone to leverage, like the actual incentives, and that 45% means that another 45% was government nutritional incentives that went directly to farmers. So it, essentially doubled what we were giving out in incentives. Some of the things, I'm doing it on mine. Yeah, please. Some of the things that you all should know, in 2023, we did not have federal support for this, so I thank you because you all allowed this program to continue. But in late 2023, we did find out that we were awarded $1.1 million through the GUSNIP, or Gus Schumacher Nutritional Incentive Program Fund, specifically to support Kentucky Double Dollars. And something that you should know as well is the way that we run Kentucky Double Dollars and provide wraparound farmers market support has allowed us to be involved in more than just a project involving government nutritional incentives. And that involvement led us to be part of the Appalachian Regional Food Business Center Award, which brought $1.1 million back to Community Farm Alliance to continue supporting our small Kentucky farm and food businesses and continue to strengthen the value chain across Kentucky. And that's $1 million over about 5 years that we don't have to ask you for match for. There's no match. That's my favorite words. I've worked about 10 years with federal grants. Actually, I met Marlon and worked with him. But, you know, no match is my favorite thing. Something else you should know is we've been successful in onboarding at least 10 new markets with SNAP. We have a record number of retailers this year in 2024. 5 are currently on board, with 6 more coming on board. And for those of you from Jefferson County, which I believe there's more than one, we're actually the Save-A-Lots in Jefferson County. A couple of them are coming on board. We're working out some point of sale systems, but a couple of them already have local produce in stores. And, you know, we're really sorry that the program hasn't come online. It's a couple of weeks late because we have point of sale issues. But the good news is the local produce has already sold out each week. So, you know, if it's there, apparently they will come. I've always said doing business development is a terrible adage, but apparently in this case it worked. We are working with KDA and KHA on the Food as Medicine initiative. And since the beginning, we've had about $1.1 million of nutritional incentives redeemed. And we know with the multiplier, you know, so that's nutritional incentives redeemed and incentives from Kentucky Double Dollars. So with a multiplier, that's around $3.6 million total now. And I forgot to update this graphic from 2022, but the multiplier is 1.67. We did not come up with that. The economist at UK's CEDIC, or Community Economic Development Institute, is who came up with that a few years ago for us. I did want to bring a face to this. And the reason that it's important, I asked someone, is like, how do you get people to start doing something that they haven't always done? And I think about my generation, and it was drilled into me that I should recycle at every step. From the time I was like probably about 8, 9 years old, because I'm a little old, but sometime in the 80s. We have families like the Kirschenbaum that are coming and shopping at the farmer's market that might not have otherwise come to the farmer's market. And basically you're creating a habit and a community for those kids. These people come and they let their kids pick out produce every week. So these are some key statistics. I'm not going to read the entire, okay, maybe I will, because I like them. Last year we were at 55 farmers markets. We had 14 fresh stop and community markets. And what that is those are special locations set up to allow people who might not be able to attend a farmer's market to still use their SNAP benefits and participate in this program. 3 retail locations last year. We're looking at potentially 11 this year. We had $184,000 redeemed with for Kentucky Double Dollars when you count all the SNAP, senior, and WIC farmers market vouchers. That's just shy of $400,000, and when you multiply that by 1.7, you get around $600,000. And 84% of the farmers who participated in some way in this program saw increased sales last year. I'm going to stop real quick and ask if you all have questions, because I'll just barrel right through, but I don't want to take more than 15 minutes. All right, good. This is farm business impacts. We had over 350,000 of direct farm impact last year. In the last 3 years, because I think it's important not to just look at numbers. I've spent the last 10 years of my life looking at numbers. It's important not to look at 1 year. So over the last 3 years, 80% of farms attributed increase in sales to Kentucky Double Dollars. The average increase last year was about $3,000 in farm sales. The small and mid-sized farms saw around 16% increase in sales, where a large-sized farm only saw about 10. But it's reasonable because the large farms already have a larger amount of income. So this just gives you an idea. One thing to think about too is, you know, when we give people, we're saying like, oh, a farmer's market can participate in Kentucky Double Dollars. We're leveraging that funding, not just with federal and not just with, we're also getting nutritional incentives, the farmer's market that wouldn't be there. We're actually asking the farmer's markets to have skin in the game as well. So they have to raise 25% of the incentives that they're going to give out. I think it's important to have farmers markets participating in the program and taking ownership, because that's how they're going to end up supporting it long term and developing the community around it. And this is a simple map of where they are this year. So this is different from last year. We have about 37 farmers markets, 5 active stores, 42 locations that are accepting the SNAP fruit and vegetables, 25 that are accepting SNAP meat, eggs, and dairy incentives, 38 on the WIC farmers market program, and 95 on the senior farmers market program. The reason those numbers are higher for WIC and seniors is because the farmers market doesn't have to accept SNAP, which is why one of the key things that we look at is getting more farmers markets to accept SNAP. And if you want to know if it brings new people in, this person has probably been giving his produce away to neighbors for years if he was growing enough to do that. But now his neighbors who, to let you know, the senior farmers market nutrition program is so popular, and our program is so popular with it. This is Jamie. She is the director of Kentucky Double Dollars, and she told me that the first days that some of these markets open, their senior farmers market nutrition's incentive, they literally use all $2,000 that we allocate per market. That's a very high demand. And you got to think, London Laurel County Farmers Market, $2,000. I'm not saying it happened there, but for that market, $2,000 in one day is a lot of sales increase. And that means that they're using $4,000 total because also the vouchers. This is Hardin County. I do want to highlight because without Ag Development Fund, we would not be able to do proteins. The federal funds only allow us to do specialty crops. And this is actually the Smith family farm pictured there. They raise polled Herefords and crossed Angus, and they do pork as well. And so, he's actually president of Farmers Market, I think, in Hardin County, but their farm is in Meade County. The Farmers Market Support Program is the the glue that holds all of this together, because without wrapping around and supporting our farmers markets, they wouldn't have the ability to do the reporting that's required to do these federal funds. One of those things you got to keep in mind, and I was just telling Bill, I come from a place where I was like the queen of if anyone had a grant reporting question on the federal side, like, Marissa, what's the AMS, the Agricultural Marketing Service regulations? I was like, this is it. We report for every location that accepts SNAP. Each month, we must tell USDA how much SNAP they accepted that month as part of the program. When you have dozens of locations, and that's hard for the farmers market without a paid manager. The market manager cost share that the farmers market promotion program or the farmers market support program allows makes this possible. So to think that these are all the pieces. I'm not going to read this slide, but these are all the pieces that go into the Farmers Market Support Program. We have multiple partners. The Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development, or KCARD, has been one of those for years, helping with organizational structure and governance and looking at funding. Kentucky Department of Agriculture, of course, cannot do this without them. And the Ag Marketing Service we've been able to incorporate a lot of our farmers market support that isn't the market manager cost share into programs that they have and funding from them, so that I'm not putting that on you all. I think leveraging these funds is the way to make it sustainable and the way to have the most impact. Just a quick snapshot of what that looked like in 2023, because these are tied to Kentucky Double Dollars for farmers markets. So in 2023, we had $39,000 dispersed, $39,250. The farmers markets at the end of the year report back how much that they matched it with. Last year, they matched it with $46,000. And we actually know from the reports that they give us where they leveraged those funds. So whether it was vendor fees, getting donations from local churches, banks, healthcare organizations, so that you can help them develop a sustainability plan. Or if you have one market that's struggling, look and make some of this transferable so that people are not out there just trying to do it on their own. In 2024, we've committed $58,000 to this program. And again, each market must raise the match. So if you're looking at where this goes in the future, I told you, we have 2 Save-A-Lot stores coming on board in areas of Louisville that have some of the highest SNAP redemptions in the state. Increased capacity to bring retailers on board. Jamie has, I don't know how many times you've driven to Louisville?
A lot.
A lot. I'm thinking as I review budgets that I didn't create, but I'm living with, I should have put way more mileage in some program for Jamie. So, driving to Louisville, dealing with a corporate entity as you're working with not just local independent retailers, all right, here's the patch for your point of sale system. And they're like, but is it bug free? And you have federally sponsored national technical assistance groups that are like, yes, it is. And so you're going back and forth and you're like, the produce is there. Let's just print paper vouchers to get it rolling. I mean, one of my mottos is progress over perfection. I'm going to do, now when it comes to knowing the amounts and spending the dollars and making sure everything's spent well, yes, perfection, you need that, right? But as far as making sure that we get retailers to have relationships with farmers, progress. If we have to deal and I have to eat $5,000 to put paper vouchers in a store, one of the Save-A-Lots that accepts the most SNAP in Louisville, to make sure we can roll with this program, we're going to do it. But that does take capacity, and you all give us that capacity by supporting us through the Ag Development Board funds. Expanding Fresh RX. I haven't talked about Fresh RX here before. I don't know if it's been talked about here, but that is the Fresh RX for moms right now. And that is, it would get around some of the limitations of matching SNAP if you expanded it to other things. So limitations of matching SNAP is that they really don't want you to match SNAP for proteins. Incentivize that. That's a federal regulation that we have no control over. So we would be able to, I mean, adding proteins to that would be great. Or, you know, we're designing things where people are actually like pickup sites for people who have, and we've seen across the state with other food as medicine initiatives that we've worked with over the years and supported, you know, meeting people where they already are. You know, are they going to a hospital, a daycare, whatever it is, and bringing the produce to them and administering it that way. And that brings in supporting innovation. We didn't come up with this. I certainly didn't. You know, I wasn't here. Actually, I was very fortunate. I wrote the strategic roadmap for Kentucky Double Dollars about 3 years ago in my previous role at my previous job, so I was not unfamiliar. But and outside of CFA. But one of the things that I really noticed in that is that communities can come up with, if you have the right ringleaders, and I'm going to call them ringleaders, communities can come up with solutions that are truly innovative and that can support both farmers and families. And without that, the thing that it is they're not going to go apply for an Ag Development Board application. They're not going to apply for GusNet funds. That's very, you know, that can be very competitive, especially for the federal side. But them having another way to fund that is key. One thing I want to keep in mind is farmers build community. We all know this. I keep in my brain recently is, you know, when we have IGAs or other food locations in Eastern Kentucky, because that's part of where my heart is. I've lived on both sides of the state, but the impacts of home don't go away. When you lose a grocery store, you lose the community. When you lose your food, you lose your community. In any way we can make farmers more interconnected with the people who eat will help keep the community together. And then I just had a couple of cuteness things that people have sent us. So this is, you know, future consumer of local goods, a little Greer, and this is from Owensboro Regional Farmers Market. And you can see their quote there. I don't want to go over too much time, but this is one of the ways, like this is real impact of people coming to the market week after week. And honestly, that's just really cute. And this is someone who I met several years ago before I worked for CFA, but they're a farm in Eastern Kentucky, Happy Hens, and they participate in the Fresh Stops, North Fork Fresh Stop in Hazard, and it really has allowed them to grow their farm. One of the things that I've done business planning for farmers for about 10 years, one of the things I can tell you is that having a market with reliable sales allows you to take risk and move into markets that you wouldn't have otherwise considered, because you know that if you produce X volume, I can have this much more to take a risk with. You know, I can go for that wholesaler. I can see if they're going to, if I know that I have these sales in this market. And things like these Fresh Stop or community markets do provide that jumping off point. But yeah, that's almost the last slide. These are some of the supporters that have also contributed to the cause this year. So, you know, CoBank through Farm Credit, you know, NIFA, of course, very happy to have the USDA funding back. And of course, Ag Development Board. So, and the last is just a thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate everyone's trust in me to manage these funds as the new kid on the block, relatively, at least to you all. So I think I'm going to be quiet and welcome questions.
Great. Thank you so much. And we're excited to have your leadership, certainly at the organization. It's great. The dollar program is fantastic. And I know in my counties, the farmers markets are critical in providing accessibility to people who need fresh food. So we do have a few people signed up for questions. We're going to start with Representative McPherson.
So I just say thank you, Allen County. And I think we lead in vegetable production in the state, and a lot of that's Amish, but Mennonite. But then at the same time, our farmers market will be there from 3 till 5. I think today on the square every Thursday. And they used to do it in the morning. They figured out that they were willing to change up and started in the afternoon and see that they've got a lot better participation. But it's a big thing, and we do a lot with our local square there. We have First Fridays. We do a lot of things so everybody's familiar with, and they come to, and it's just always a good thing to see. And like you say, the consistency of being able to take that risk and to plant more crop each year because you can get rid of it and it's not going to go to waste. And so we're always looking to see where we can expand that market. So just thank you.
Thank you, Representative McPherson. I will say I lived in Barron County for about 10 years. I used to ride bikes through Allen County all the time because they were so used to the Amish that they wouldn't run a bicyclist over either. But one of the things I've noticed, and I have farmers in Allen County that I've known, I'm trying not to throw any farmers' names out too much, but from Allen to Laurel County, I've had farmers who've left full-time jobs because they were able to have sustainable farmers market sales. And I have some that are not doing farmers market anymore. They're wholesaling. They're wholesaling through projects that Bill and the Kentucky Ag Development Fund are working through right now. So when I'm able to see that, I have a farmer that went from $40,000 to, I pulled we were talking his financials right before I left my previous position, just shy of $1 million of sales last year because they were able to have a jumping off point. He has 15 employees now. And that's real impact. It's real dollars.
Thank you. Representative Vorks.
Thank you. So I'm Representative Rourke. I'm from Louisville. So of course you piqued my interest with the Save-A-Lot expansions. Which 2 locations were you referring to?
This is why I have Jamie.
We're going to be at Portland Avenue and Taylor Boulevard.
I thought Taylor Boulevard might be one. So of course, thank you for that. I've seen them advertising on social media. Actually, we used to have a really great partnership with Food Literacy Project right behind that location. And when that went away, I know that they were very excited to learn about how they could be getting more fresh local goods from local producers back into the area. And it's been a huge demand, especially for our multicultural folks that shop there, always looking for more locally grown products. So it's really exciting. And then, of course, I wanted just to shout out our farmers market that's since expanded, since moving locations from Beachmont to actually to Iroquois Park, with now under the name of South End Community Market. And every week I'm seeing seniors there asking about, which of the offerings whether it be double dollars, senior dollars, which of the products can they be expending their dollars on. And so I know that sales have increased since they changed their location, and of course just look forward to continuing to work with you all to offer more at that, because there is the community demanding it, which is exciting.
Yeah, it is, because when I started working back in Kentucky Ag over a decade ago, trying to put local produce in a store and thinking people would really pick it up and buy it was a huge stretch. So it's nice to see. But I appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you. This is why I have Jamie. We manage, CFA manages more than one program. So I've known Jamie for a little while. And I'm bringing you with me today because they're going to ask a specific I don't know. And she's very, very detail oriented.
Fantastic. Co-Chair Dossett.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank you for the presentation. Kimmy and I have been working on some things here over the last couple of years. I do want to begin. As we have seen over the last 3-4 years, inflation that has impacted every family, whether they be low income or going up the economic ladder, we're all experiencing increased cost. Yes. We're seeing it there within agriculture as well, the inputs that they're having to place in. But when we come back to our markets right here, over the last 3-4 years, what are we seeing an increase in clientele of individuals that are coming into those markets? What percentage are we seeing due to how families have been impacted by increased costs across the board on just their household purchases? Are we seeing an increase of people actually visiting those farmers markets?
I think that starting with the pandemic, like I asked Jamie, it's like, oh, is this the most we're going to ever, get back? And she said, we'll never top pandemic EBT because so many people got it, at least not this year. And what we are seeing is an increase of awareness of other places to get resources and come into markets. One of the things that we're doing this year with Kentucky Double Dollars to help answer your question, because I don't think we have a great answer right now. But what I will say is, and I'll let Kimmy answer it, but we are this year implementing like multiple point surveys of the same folks to see how, when they come in, like who's coming in and how, if they're continuing, making sure they're continuing through the season, and then how that's actually changing shopping and eating behaviors long term, like over the course of several months to get that data. But I think that that will help answer your question, Representative Dossett. And Kimmy, you say you have a...
Yes. So I can get this data to you, but the USDA did do a study that they measured the percentage of SNAP participants at farmers markets for each state from 2013 to 2020, so like right before the pandemic, and KDD was implemented in 2014. Kentucky saw a 123% increase of SNAP participants at farmers markets. And that was before the pandemic. And then there was a huge boom during the pandemic, and those people have stayed. So I'm sure it's probably a pretty good amount of SNAP users.
And that is the other thing I want to ask you about the double dollars and how we are making sure this information is getting out, that they're being advertised. When you look at a young family with children, and as I said, things that we have experienced over the last 3 or 4 years, and now we're seeing, when you're seeing car insurance increasing, homeowners insurance increasing, renters insurance increasing due to storms that have impacted us over the last 3 to 4 years. We want to make sure that these young families that are struggling know that they have access to this. We're all dealing with this, and especially for a young family, stress level is already incredible, and what we all try to explain to them is it's when you're talking to that young person as someone with experience, you want to get them going in the right directions. But how are we advertising these to make sure they're aware these double dollars are available?
We have a pretty small marketing budget in terms of traditional marketing. So what we've done to kind of offset that, since we have limited resources there, one, our biggest way is by developing a community partner network, which is made up of government organizations like the state SNAP office, extension offices, local libraries, hospitals, things like that. And so they work directly on the ground to spread the word with the folks that they work with who are limited resource. And so we meet with them each quarter to share how the program's going and provide them with, printed materials, posters they can hang up, flyers they can hand out. The other big thing that we've been doing is we did a completely revamped website with a lot of access to resources, a searchable map where folks can find their location, but we've also really increased our usage of social media. So like a recent post that we did about using SNAP with Kentucky Double Dollars got like 181 shares across the state from community partners, outlets, markets, farmers, that sorts of things. So really we're finding that social media is a great way to get the word out, but the community partner network is also kind of our biggest asset, and we're always looking for new members. So if there's someone in your district that you work with who might want to join, we would love to chat with them about how they can promote the program with their work.
Okay. One more. And I will get with Kimmy on this right here. Please come to us. Let us also do, whether it be press release or get the information there to the public. Newspaper, radios, happy to help in any way, because as I said, what I see are these young families that are struggling tremendously right now to know this is available. School is about to start. Anything that we could help and get that word out, please feel free. Kimmy, reach out to me and we'll work something. I can do something at home on this with our media, and I'd say reach out to all of us and let us be of assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Webb?
Thanks. I just like to see SNAP benefits going to promote healthy lifestyles, because, you know, in our experience in cheap food, carbs, wasted calories and all that, I mean, because health is a lifestyle. We talk about dollars and funding, but you can't really quantify reaching those children and the life choices that they make. And to promote the healthy lifestyle that's going to cut down on medical costs, cut down on cancer rates, diabetes, and all those issues that you know that we see, especially in East Kentucky, very high incidence of. So I would like to see more participation. I think I've got 2 of 4 counties that participate, and I'd like to see more of that. But the family resource centers, do they work with you all? There are boots on the ground in a lot of these issues as far as reaching and having data on what you call migrant transient families, homelessness, and all those things. I mean, they're kind of reaching school children. How involved are they, or are they?
So we've worked with some family resource centers like locally, but I haven't had any meetings. Like, I don't know if there's like a statewide group that meets. I haven't been connected with anyone on the state level for family resource. Just locally, different markets that we've worked with have worked with their family resource centers.
Well, I mean, yeah, they have an organizational effort through their forum, and they come to us and actually have legislative events for us every year with them information. So, I mean, I think that would be a really good way to get information. You know, our extension offices are great. That's how I see it, especially when they send it to my mother, who's a senior citizen. But I think family resource centers might be an avenue to explore across the state.
Great, thank you. We'll definitely do that.
Thank you so much. And I think she's exactly right. This is what's so interesting, I think, about this committee is that you do get to see all the different partners working together and leveraging funds and resources, because we do want a better Kentucky and a healthier Kentucky, and that's the goal. So thanks for your hard work and dedication, your update. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. We appreciate being allowed to come and update you on our program, and we certainly appreciate the funding, because I'll be honest, you all give us the ability and the stability to be able to apply for and leverage other pots of funds, from federal funds to private philanthropy, that we wouldn't be able to do. And to your point of health, one of the reasons that developing communities around farmers market and where they buy this food, like, we can move a lot more of this through a Save a Lot, but to teach consumers what to prepare and how to prepare, there's no better place than their local community.
You're right. So. Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Task Force Committee members, for being here today. Our next meeting is August